This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised. Previously on Back to the Story.
Follow the instructions.
She jumps on you, and her form forms a silhouette, or a ivory skull with blackened runes and glyphs. And as it hits the ground, you see it begins to lift up into the air slowly. Foolish child, you shouldn't interfere with the will. So going up, asking around, no one has seen Bál or Nambra since they left a little after sunset. Okay, so you guys all wake up, bruised and wounded on the ship, or happily upon the coast. The day is overcast. The clouds have kind of reformed now, darker. It looks like rain will probably happen today. The winds are high. The sea is fairly rough today. But otherwise, the day is yours. And you know this ship leaves tomorrow. The half-mast Meli, leaves in a few more days. But you guys are free to do whatever you want.
So first thing in the morning, I want to go talk to Vesper briefly. So I picked up those diamonds yesterday.
Oh, great.
Do you want to hold on to them, or should we split them up? What do you think is best?
I mean, I think I'm the only one who can actually perform that sort of ritual if it comes up. But if something happens to me and one of you will need it.
So maybe you get one, and I don't often get hit, so maybe I should hold on to the other.
I think that's a good idea. You or Amsen?
Mm-hmm. I've got these handy pockets.
That is true. I've got the little tongue ring too, actually. If you and Amsen want to hold on to the other two. You have two, right?
Yeah, well, why don't you hold on to one of the bigger ones?
Okay.
And then I'll hold on to one. Amsen can hold on to the tongue ring, I guess.
It's so gross.
That's gross.
It's so gross.
It kind of reminds me in a way that I wish it didn't. I was wondering if you could re-pierce my ears for me.
Yeah, I can do that.
It doesn't have to be now, but whenever there's a moment.
I don't know if we're doing anything else today. I'd be happy to.
Thanks.
Yeah. Do you have earrings, or is it going to close right up?
Yeah, I have those earrings that we found.
Off Eliza.
Not off of Eliza.
Okay.
I'm talking about, with your rapier and...
Oh, yeah. All right.
These little jet ones.
Sure. So I will clean a needle off with alcohol and clean her ears and girls in a bathroom. Just
give me a medicine check as you take time to sterilize it and perform it. Make sure it doesn't bleed too much.
That's a nat 1.
Oh, no. Well, Ellory, take 1 point of damage.
I'm sorry.
Ow!
Oh, sorry.
The hole, you got too close to the edge, and it ripped to the edge.
I will seal that up with a quick little something I've got.
You staunch the wound. There's still a bit of a scar mark there.
Sorry. I'll fix that one. I'll fix it. I'm sorry. Let's try that one more time.
Okay, I'm trusting you.
Should we go to somewhere where it's not rocking?
That might be a good idea.
Let's get off the ship. That might be safer, so we'll take her to the dock, and then I'll sit around a box and do it again. Stabilize this time.
Yeah, one more time.
That's slightly better. That's a 15.
Okay, yeah. Now that you're not rocking as much, you're able to do so. Be able to put in the earrings to a few hours in the morning, just between having to do it again and all that. But yeah, you're able to do so. As you guys are doing that, Meli, Amsen, Bál, Kalvyn.
Yeah, I think when Bál wakes up, it's just kind of like just still enjoying a bit of the morning before Bál kind of suggests that it might be time to get back. Like, Ball's not in any rush. He's not aware of the shit that just went down on the boat, so he's kind of enjoying his little island of paradise.
Yeah, and she like rubs her head, like clearly has a hangover, but she's like, yeah, I probably, but she's not in a rush either.
I don't know if lay on hands helps with hangovers. I think it helps with like, here's like a disease. Let me check.
Do you want to try?
It says one disease or neutralize one poison affecting it. I guess poison, maybe alcohol's a poison. Yeah, I think I'll do 5 lay on hands points on her.
Okay. Yeah. And you put your hand, and your hand basically covers her entire skull. And as you do so, there's a brief silvery golden light that comes up kind of in the shape of dancing flames. And as it fades, and you take your hand away, I think that helped. Yeah. She kind of rubs her head a little bit. She kind of stands up. Yeah, I think that's better. Should probably get back to the ship. I'm late for work.
Do you want to swim back, or was losing it enough?
If you want, we can just walk though if you're not up for it.
Yeah, I think Paul will take her up on that offer, and she'll take a stroll back along the coastline.
Okay. So you guys walk along the beach, the coastline between the forest and the bay and the sea. Walking up towards the bridge, you can see the docks from where you are as you're heading north. You can see ships are preparing. The ones you can see, a lot of them looks like they're military ships. Those of you on the docks can see it as well. They seem to be loading up with weapons, food, rations, supplies, and the like as Bál and Nambra make their way to the bridge, heading over it, walking through the Stone Flint district that looks heavily militarized. Again, a few hounds kind of stop you briefly before kind of recognizing someone's been told about you, but some still flank you and follow you as you make your way through the city and back to the docks.
Well, good morning, Bál.
Hi.
Have a good evening.
It was a nightmare. How was yours?
I won a swimming race.
Congratulations.
We got attacked by a ghost.
I'm gonna definitely go to work. Bye, Bál. And she kind of literally skips up the gangplank and onto the ship.
I kind of watch her go with a raised eyebrow, turn back to Bál.
Narrowed eyes. So you guys had a good night?
Yes, I won the swimming race. So, you had nightmares?
No, we got attacked by the ghost of Eliza.
She stole the skull.
And a lot of Ezekiel's life force.
You see Bál's got because you guys are talking so casually about it that Bál is not sure if you're joking or if you're serious or what. And I think Bál actually says that he's like, I don't know if you're joking. You don't seem very serious.
I mean, we're not joking, but there's nothing we can do about it at this point.
Where's Ezekiel?
On the ship. He's better.
Resting up a little, I think.
Meli, Amsen, and Kalvyn, you guys have all kind of reconvened on the ship together at this point.
Is Ezekiel just kind of like in his room resting kind of vibe?
He's hanging out nearby. He's just kind of relaxing since George isn't here. You see him and he looks rough, but he's okay.
I think we don't have to RP it, but I think Bál will go check on Ezekiel, kind of pull him to the side, thank him for kind of, the spells that he did do to kind of help him out to have a successful swim. And then he wants to cast Detect Poison and Disease and see if whatever it is that's ailing Ezekiel is a poison or a disease.
Okay. Casting that, he doesn't seem to be afflicted by any poison or disease. You see some of the hair on his temples are still kind of grayed, but they normally weren't. Some of his beard is now salted. He looks smaller, withered, compared to what he once was. But he's alive. He's okay.
And Divine Sense doesn't kind of pick up some kind of a negative energy from him, so to speak.
No, nothing like that.
Okay, so I think it's kind of just, the scene is kind of, Bál's just kind of checking in on Ezekiel and seeing if there's anything he can do. And then when he realizes there isn't, then just kind of more of a supportive, we'll sort this out kind of a vibe.
Yeah, and he responds similarly. He's definitely appreciative that you've checked on him and that all said and done, at least you had a good night.
And then I'll rejoin with the party and say, I'm sorry I wasn't here.
I'm just glad you had a better night than the rest of us did.
Mm-hmm. Glad you're safe.
It could have been worse. I'll make sure not to be gone next time.
Well, you shouldn't feel bad. She caught all of us off guard.
How did she know to come here?
Probably the skull. She might be bonded to it, or something like that. I'm not sure. But she wanted the skull, she came for it, she got it, and she left. So, hopefully the next time we see her will be on our terms and not hers.
Should we tell someone? Should we find her?
I think we probably need to head back to the temple, at least to not let what's-her-name know what happened.
Yeah, I'm almost dreading that.
I'm probably not going to be much help, but I'll go with you if you want.
It'd be nice. Don't really want to face her by myself after that.
Maybe someone can take a look at Ezekiel as well.
Yeah. Anyone else want to come?
I think you'll see that Ball is unusually taking a bit more charge than he normally would, instead of kind of sitting in the back. Ball's got a bit of, feels a bit guilty, so he's like, alright guys, let's get going. I'm gonna make it up to you guys. So, yeah, Ball kind of encourages everyone to come along. And if they came once, they might come again, and it's better if we're together.
I agree. It's our last day in the city, let's try and stick close.
So you guys are heading to the Temple of Ain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Including Meli and Kalvyn, are you guys going with him? I assume you are, but I just want to make sure you guys... Yeah, okay. As always, just stop me if you want to do anything else. You guys head up there, walk to the Revenant Arc. The city is no longer lit by sunlight, but is kind of overcasted. As you go to the temple to Ain, you walk through the open doors. Immediately, the sound of the city is sort of deafened. You can kind of hear it, but it just sounds so distant. As you walk in, there's a few acolytes that are kind of moving people here and there. People have come in lining up for healing to set bones, cure illnesses. A few are coughing, and you see Vivian kind of at work dealing with these injured individuals.
I think I'll walk up to her and maybe kind of like, if she's got someone helping her, like passing her bandages, I'll just like pick up the bandages and start passing to her.
Okay. She kind of, after a second, realizes you're not the normal acolyte. You've returned, yes.
Yeah.
Shall we move forward? Give me a few moments and then we'll meet in the front by the water and see if we can banish the spirit.
Think about that. Spirit's not really with us anymore.
Did you destroy the skull?
Nope. I'll fill you in. Finish up here and go.
She kind of turns and kind of nods to her acolyte to continue, and without moving, fill me in.
I do so as we walk back to the party and then into the main room, I'm guessing.
Okay, you're kind of, to the side, in a side room. She moves over towards the center of the room.
I'll tell her about, when we went to the catacombs and how all of that panned out first, give her the backstory, and then launch into what happened last night.
And your friend, the one that was kissed by death, is he alive?
I brought him from the brink, but he's not well.
You all kind of looking to all of you now that she's among you. You all did well to survive. I'm not familiar with this will you speak of, or this individual, Eliza, but there have been strange going-ons lately of people going missing. I will inform the hounds of this, but more importantly, I will pray. If there's anything I can do, if you have wounds, if you have any sort of ailment, I can, through Ain's blessing, attempt to remove it.
I'll look at Ezekiel.
Yeah, did Ezekiel come with us?
Yeah,
he would have.
Ball would have insisted, yeah.
Yeah, I figured. So Ezekiel kind of moves, steps a few foots forward. Vivian kind of nods her head down, takes her lioness's head, wreathed in wings, and kind of holds it. You notice her symbol's a little different from the standard ones. You notice this one, instead of having 2 wings wrapped around, there are 6 wings, or 3 pairs of wings around the symbol. She moves to Ezekiel, placing her hand on his chest as high as she can reach up, as she's maybe 5'6". You see a silver light kind of glow from her hand as her symbol glows as well. You see some of the color to the temple of Ezekiel's hair, and some of the peppering kind of fade away as the brown kind of hair returns. His cheeks kind of fill in a little bit, since he seemed to be restored, at least partly, to his former self.
So I look at Ezekiel and I say, well, the salt and pepper look wasn't bad, but it's good to have you back to normal.
He laughs in that way. Ezekiel laughs.
I'm sorry, we should have left it here with you.
It is fine. If you need protection, you're welcome to stay here. We have not much room, but we can make it for you. The water can prevent incursions of these types, should you believe the will or this creature should return for you.
Do you have any recommendations on how to find her?
That is another question entirely. There are ways to scry upon creatures, to search for them. I can pray, I can ask for guidance in this, though I admit it is not my specialty. The Black Rune, though his magic is not divine, he does have some specialty in divining. I'm not sure if you could gain audience with him, but I could put in whatever word I have.
Ball kind of look to the party for confirmation. And then to the party say, I don't think she should go unpunished.
No, but I also don't think we should be poking a hornet's nest. If we go after her, we have to be careful.
And it would be good to know where she is. So as Amsen said, we can deal with her on our terms. And then Ball will look to the priestess and say, yes, would you be able to put in a word for us?
I will do so. I will send word now. They should receive it in a few moments' time. I'm not sure how effective it will be, but I shall give you my word in sending it. The Diavalka owes me a favor, so perhaps she will be of more use than I would.
Thank you, Redeemed.
If there's anything else, simply ask.
Vesper looks like she wants to say more, but is kind of aware that everyone is around.
I think Ball will just ask for some directions on where... Sorry, what was its name?
She gets some paper and kind of informs you she's writing a letter to the Black Rune, is the name of the court wizard or court arcanist who serves the nobility and Queen Wolfrath. And she's sending a letter to the Hounds to perhaps persuade him to grant you an audience, as he's actually in the Ivory Reach district, the area that's only for nobility and that you're not technically allowed. So she writes this letter, hands it to an acolyte. A younger one, seems less important, who kind of runs off with it, leaving you guys to your devices.
I don't like all this Shadowfell stuff.
Shadowfell. She was kind of taking a few steps away.
That's where we went, under the cemetery, when we passed through that portal.
And you're sure of this?
Fairly certain.
Come with me. She leads you out of the temple, walking by Kalvyn. You can see the temple you're familiar with now, the tall beacon to Valisol, probably the tallest structure in the Revenant Arc, to the center structure that looks more like a fortress. There is a port cutlass that kind of seems to send through this wall into the higher reaches of the city. And you see symbols and banners of the Black Wolf with red eyes, the symbol of Wolfrath. She guides you through towards the port cutlass, where you see a few armored individuals, looking like hounds as well, but with different bands upon their arms and mantles upon their backs, who recognize Vivian and open up the gates for her to enter through. Walking through, you enter in sort of a looks like a war hall. There's columns, there's people training, there are weapons and armories along the sides of the walls. Numerous of these banners as well. You see another portcullis on the other side leading into a courtyard beyond as you are led by her to the edge of that. And as that portcullis is again raised, revealing an outside courtyard, you step out into this courtyard and into the light. Here you see a training yard. There are numerous hounds and other figures in armor sparring with each other, training against one another. And you see kind of raised bleachers where people are kind of watching these duels. Vivian waits for a moment for the dust to settle before kind of stepping out, scanning the bleachers and kind of moving around the training yard and up to the bleachers where you see another woman in the heavy armor. You also see a few others you recognize that are watching the duels. You see Ludwig the Red in his red dragon plate. You see the Duke Sabir with his eye patch and military uniform. You see the Queen, Isabella Wolfrath, watching the duels, and you see the King, Mauve, in his heavy, dark, oldlum black iron plate. Vivian moves over to someone, an armored woman, and brings her back, ushering you kind of back inside as the royalty kind of squint, recognizing who you are, especially Bál and Ezekiel, Vesper, the noticeable ones, before Vivian brings in this other woman inside. Vivian speaks up. This is the Valka, Draco Kirsa. She gestures to a woman, maybe late 30s, silver white hair flowing long back into a braid. She has very light green eyes and faint freckles. She's tall, not quite as tall as Vesper, but she's maybe 5'10". Battle scarred. We see a few scars on her neck and arms. She's wearing furs of wolves. Draco Kesa is the Valka to the Temple of Wolfrath and divine consult to the Queen herself. I've informed her of this shadow business, and perhaps, Valkia, we were hoping you could gain them audience with the Black Room. They've seen the Shadowfell. They've seen what is called the Will, and perhaps it has something to do with these missing individuals. The Valkyr, Kirsa, I do not think this is such a good idea. Strangers in our town, Gaussian of all sorts, giants, keep bad company, Vivian. Vivian speaks up. I seem to remember something I've done for you, and perhaps this will return the favor. Unless I should perhaps speak to the Queen. No, that would not be necessary. Perhaps you're right. It would be good to learn more of this. I will speak to Ludwig and see if we can arrange a meeting. This will not happen now, of course, but I can keep you up to date.
We're supposed to be leaving tomorrow.
I will speak with them today. You do not rush Ludwig the Red. Is this satisfactory?
Absolutely, you are most generous. Thank you.
Well, we should continue with our duels, and seeing if anyone shall seek the title. I shall send word to you, Vivian, after I speak with Ludwig. And I assume you can get in contact with this strange lot. She looks back to Vivian, who nods. Ella. As the Valkyr Draco Kirsa moves back outside, entering the courtyard once again, as a new duel is beginning to be set up between two. One heavily armored individual with a huge maul, and a smaller one in like medium armor with two swords. Vivian turns back. Hopefully that is enough. I will wait for her response and reach out for you. Where can I find you?
We're at the docks on one of the ships.
I have a fair loom.
I'm not good with Elvish.
I will send word as soon as I know. And she's saying this as she's kind of walking you out of the Temple to Wolfrath and into the arch just at the north end of an oval-shaped forest, just a city park, fairly large. She stops. Allison would. And be careful. She nods before heading back to her temple, leaving you outside in the arch of these various temples next to the sort of city Blackwoods Park.
Careful's not typically what we're good at.
Maybe this time we can put some effort into trying.
I keep thinking about the whole Shadowfell, Starfall, Fallen Star thing, and it is not making me happy.
It's definitely weird. I wonder, they said there's recently been missing people. I wonder if it's centered around Starfall, if that's when people started going missing.
Well, we found those prisoners.
Right.
That Eliza was taking down there. I guess there have been others before that.
Maybe when we talk to the Black Rune, we can ask him.
I would like to say something there. As altruistic as this group is, we cannot help everyone. And we have our own things to do. I'm not saying that we should avoid helping these people. I think that it is a good and noble thing to do. However, how much can we do before we leave tomorrow?
As much as we can, but we're not going to delay our trip for it.
No, of course.
What we should do is whatever we can that these people can salvage it without us.
I'm just voicing my concern that if we get too involved with it, that we might not be able to leave tomorrow. That other people might have other plans.
Yeah.
But you heard what she said. We've seen the Shadowfell. We have answers no one else has right now. The least we can do is get everything on paper, tell them everything we know, and make it clear that's everything we know. And then leave. They have our testimonies, and that's really all they need.
Alright. Just making sure we're not getting involved into something that maybe we're not ready for yet.
We'll put our feet down. Kalvyn, Ball, you two have been awfully quiet. Are you in agreement?
Yeah, I don't think Ball says much. I think maybe you'll just nod.
Kalvyn?
I don't think Kalvyn would say anything either. He's just trying to grimace.
So,
Meli, you were going to show us around town, weren't you?
Yeah, did you want me to do that now?
Oh, we're all here.
Okay. I don't actually know geography of this place, so what would you like to see first?
Meli, you would know the layout of the city, remembering it decently well, at least basically. The whole city is on a large wedge-shaped rock, like a doorstop, with the north end being the highest and the south being the lowest where the ocean meets. As you go higher is generally the more important stuff, with the palace or fortress at the very top, the Ivory Reach, which is where the nobles stay, sort of right below that. And then below that is the Revenant Arc, where you currently are, where the temples are. There's a big Blackwoods forest where you can go. These trees of very dark brown bark, deciduous and evergreens kind of mixed in this nice park. With the Riverwatch district to the right, there's some shops, cafes, some residential and taverns that overlooks the river. Very pretty view, lots of nice houses there. And then down into the trade district, which you've been, the harbor district, which is more like industrial, building ships and the like, and then the Stoneflint district, which is very military quarters, building armor and weapons. But otherwise, you can show them, whatever parts of the city that you wanted.
If we maybe start at the top and then just sort of work down, I'll point stuff out to them. Because then by the end of it, we should be back at the boat.
Okay. Yeah, you do so, kind of pointing out stuff you remember as a kid, playing here, reading books there, hanging out with your father while he had business lunches at some random semi-nice tavern here, eventually making your way down through the trade district and back at the docks.
And as we're going along, even though I was the one who suggested it, I'm mostly just kind of frowning and not paying all that much attention to what she's saying. Kind of lost in thought.
There's an awful lot of construction going on. How long ago was this place destroyed? Is it before you left or after?
Was it before I left?
Yeah, it was before you were born. It was about
Okay.
10 years before you were born when it was destroyed.
It's a big place. It takes a while to fix everything.
Yeah. Dragons? There's a lot of dragon parts everywhere. Did you have a lot of encounters with dragons? Or were they also all gone?
So, Meli, you can kind of fill them in.
Sorry.
There was a big incursion about 30 years ago of dragons, big ones, that smashed the city to bits, killed probably 60, 70% of the population, and they've been rebuilding the city since. Some white wolves, sort of champions and high knights of the Wolfrath crown and the kingdom killed the biggest dragons, but there were still a lot of smaller ones that were a nuisance for years after that. There was a bell system, a warning system, and like kids would go through fire drills today, you went through dragon drills where you kind of had to prepare for this. It didn't happen often where real dragons would attack, but every now and then a young dragon would get bold and attack the actual city. Usually not too close to the city, though. Growing up in that, you eventually left when you were about 11 or so and came to Embershore. So your memories are distant of it, but you remember enough.
Damn. I thought everyone was rough.
I like to call them dragon drills.
It's kind of cute in a weird way.
Yeah, except for the fact that it was like,
Terrifying.
in case of dragons.
Right.
Maybe we should have gotten Valgriff drills as kids.
Somebody would have to pay for those.
Yeah. The day Embershore gets an actual school system. We're not all just apprenticed to our parents.
Yeah, well, one of those big rich families would have to decide that that's important first.
They don't go out in the woods.
So the day kind of passes. So you guys can kind of do what you want, hang out, recover. A couple hours go by and eventually hanging down by the ship. A little past noon, it's been maybe 4 or 5 hours. A young acolyte kind of comes, finding the ship, eventually having a piece of paper in their hand. In his hand, he's maybe 17. He's kind of on the younger end, but very thin, lithe guy. He has similar to actually Amsen's hair color, as he kind of comes up, has dark brown eyes, and sees you guys on the dock, noticing Ball, Vesper, Ezekiel, the noticeable ones, and waves the leather. Handing you guys this letter, you see it's written in cursive with a hard slant. It's very hard to read. You're having to tilt it and what does this say? You're skipping words, trying to figure out context clues. What it says is written like a doctor's handwriting. It's really difficult to read. But you get the impression that it says something about meeting. The meeting time is at sundown, and you're meeting in a tavern called The Something. The Something Tavern is described as being near the Riverwatch district, just inside the Black Woods on the east side, as I look to find the name of it. Black Dog Saloon is the name. And it's signed with a single glyph. It's not a letter, a single symbol. And Meli, give me an Arcana check as you look at it.
19.
You recognize this rune as being one of the runes used in abjuration magic.
Do I have any idea what it does? Or just that it's...
it doesn't do anything on its own, but it's sort of for any abjuration magic. This rune or glyph is used as sort of the core you build off the spells from.
Okay. I'll tell that to the others then.
Does that make it a special note?
Didn't this black rune guy have a mark on his forehead when we saw him?
Mm-hmm.
Does this look the same as that?
Trying to remember, maybe. You didn't get a great look at it or try to memorize it, but maybe.
Okay.
So what time is it now?
It's 1 or 2. You have a few hours until that happens if you want to do anything. Otherwise, we can fast forward there.
I think maybe before we go, Ball will see if he can get a moment with Vesper.
Okay.
Basically, Ball kind of pulls you aside, and it's just like, so I know that you want to go on this pilgrimage.
I do.
What is the purpose of the pilgrimage?
I suppose the end goal is to go to Nyessa and take my vows and properly ordain myself as a follower of Ayin, as priestess. But it's really about the journey, ultimately. Learning what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and who I am and who I want to be. Why'd you ask?
I think it is about the journey too. Maybe it's important that we redeem those that can be redeemed before we move on.
What are you suggesting?
I know that Amsen said that we should not stay for too long, but when there are opportunities, maybe that is what this pilgrimage should be about.
Right, but... Well, you're not wrong. I want to help as much as we possibly can. I just don't know how much we're able to do for this. This whole thing seems so over our heads.
You might be right. Just something I've been thinking about.
I appreciate that, and I really do want to help them. I just don't want to sacrifice us in the process. We have to look out for ourselves, too. If we die today, then we can't help people tomorrow. We lose our lives on this arc of redemption, we can't help the next person who needs it, and the person after that, and the person after that. We have a responsibility to live, to help more people. We have a responsibility to survive so we can do the good that needs to be done tomorrow, not just today.
Ball kind of, nod quietly in agreement. And then maybe at that point it's, kind of time to go.
Well, do you have, a bruise on your neck there?
I can't see it. Do I?
No, let's get back to the ship.
And I guess, Ball, walks out and is just kind of, rubbing where he thinks this bruise might be. And, he's feeling around to, he's got no idea what she's talking about.
There's a bruise there.
Alright, and then, so just in the next scene, it's just Ball, covering it. Not even necessarily trying to hide it, but just kind of, just realize it's there, and now that he knows it's there, he can't unnotice it.
So as Ball's trying to ice down his hickey, Meli, were you trying to find Kalvyn?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can find each other on the boat or docks.
Okay. Is he, on his own, or is he chilling with people?
Kalvyn?
I would assume Kalvyn is with the majority, unless they've all scattered like roaches.
You're probably nearby to each other. You could pull them away or speak, in the group.
Okay. I'll walk up to Kalvyn and just ask if he would like to go for a walk.
Sure, I don't think we're doing anything right now.
I'll pick a direction and start walking that way.
Okay, so you guys walk off the ship and just kind of walking along the docks.
I just wanted to say sorry for getting mad at you the other day. I understand why you did it, with the eating all the heart and everything. I'm just worried that you always throw yourself in front of everyone, and that you're going to get yourself killed.
I'm not trying to, just trying to do what I can. I don't know.
I know, but it would suck if you died. And yeah, I don't know. I know the other people can take hits as well. You don't have to stand in front of everyone and take them.
No, but I'm good at taking hits. It's not a problem. I don't want to see any of my friends hurt. I'm sure I'll survive.
Maybe. But yeah, that was it. I just wanted to say sorry. Sorry I yelled at you.
Oh, it's not a problem. No worries.
That's kind of it. I just wanted to say sorry.
Okay. As the day kind of rolls on, you guys...
I did want to spend a little bit of time, actually, because I haven't looked at the star signs book yet. I just wanted to look at two things in that. I guess two things. I wanted to kind of flip through until I could find just what the star sign was for the month that we're in now, which I think is Frost Thaw, and last month.
Okay. I'm pulling that up, flipping through the pages. So last month was the sign of the Lord. And then the Lord, and Giant. And this month was the sign for the Wild, and Saurus is another word that's embedded in there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's anything else, please interrupt me. As the day kind of goes by, eventually the sun begins to set, and as you're trying to meet in the Black Dog Saloon around that time, I assume you guys head in that direction, walking up through the city towards the Black Woods. The Black Woods is a very large section of forest planted in the city to give some natural life to this city of mostly stone. On the east side of that forest, there's sort of trails entering and exiting, weaving through the park. On the east side, there's a crossroad that goes in, and not too far in, maybe 50 yards or so into this Black Woods, you see a wooden building. There's a chimney with some smoke rolling out, some warm light. It looks essentially like a house. You hear somewhat rowdy crowd within. As you walk through these woods of dark brown bark, even the leaves seem dark, very dark green into these black woods, heading towards this house made of the same kind of wood. You see there's a sign above it with a poorly carved drawing of a dog, and it says the Black Dog Saloon.
Well, this is where we're meant to be. I'm just nervous. I'm going to cast Detect Evil and Good as we head in.
Okay.
Amsen, you make it sound so ominous.
I wave my hands in front of the building that we're standing in front of.
As you guys enter in to this, the crowd is building. It's not quite crowded yet, but there's still people coming in. You enter in, very simple room, looks like a large den of some formal house. You see a number of people, some armored, some not, all talking and drinking, mostly ale, it looks like. Casting Detect Good and Evil, sensing out, you sense nothing. Nothing unusual.
That's me, that's Ezekiel, okay.
Yeah, and then looking through, you see it's a pretty rough looking saloon, smells of sweat, cheap ale. You see a woman in her early 30s behind the bar that's manning it. Behind the bar, there's several cask barrels, a few bottles, and there's a long sword that's hanging behind the bar as well. There's also a shield, a simple buckler that has black, red, and yellow stripes, sort of in a diagonal. There's a few other individuals in here that are kind of serving, moving crates and barrels and such, kind of getting ready as the crowd comes in. And the crowd in has 7 individuals, one of which is a half-giant, one is, in their eyes, a Gaussian, and a weird smoked genasi walk in. The entire crowd kind of gets quiet and is looking at you all. What do you guys do?
Vesper looks very uncomfortable.
I'm going to walk up to the bar and order all of us a round of something.
That woman, a half-orc, kind of meets you as you approach. You're like, all right, so Black Dog Draft, Hoonsdrul, which one?
What would you recommend?
Black Draft is a standard. Hoonsdrul is a little cheaper.
We'll take the black draft then.
All right, 5 copper each. And she kind of goes over, takes just simple wooden mugs, pours them up. It's a dark lager, heavy foam, something like a Guinness. That she pulls out and hands them all to you.
I really hate when people stare at me.
Would you like me to do what I do best?
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna go up to the bar and say, it's a nice place you got here. Do you need any entertainment?
Yeah, you already deliver it. She kind of gestures to the crowd staring at you guys.
Well,
kind of nudging each other, talking.
I'll kind of half take off the loot off of my back and say, well, I've got other types of entertainment here. if people are interested in some decent stories and songs.
The half-orc female, who has kind of braided black dreadlocks behind her hair, turns over at the woman in her early 30s. Star, this one wants to play some music. What do you think? She kind of looks over at you. Fucking sure, it's fine. Give him a black dog, it's fine. And she kind of goes back to whatever she's doing. She's busy. The half-orc kind of shrugs her shoulders, fills you up another drink, and alright, go ahead.
Alright, so I'm gonna find a place kind of on the opposite side of the establishment where all of my friends are, so that people are looking at me instead. And what the hell, I'll play Ragnar the Red.
Okay, give me a performance check.
Alright, that's not great. I'm gonna use luck. The same damn number, so that's a 15.
They're unsure of this foreigner and strange lot coming into their bar, deciding to play music, but you play a song that hits their heart. War, battle, violence, they dig it. You see kind of a group of, it looks like maybe they're related in some way, a family almost, of individuals ranging from early 40s to 13 and 14 years old, these kids pounding back these loggers who get really into it. There's one drunker 7-year-old girl who has put war paint on her face that's also has snucken off with a beverage and is kind of stumbling through the crowd, who kind of nears you, kind of dances in quotation marks, more of like a war beat than anything, with a wooden sword she has. The crowd seems into it.
So I'll just try to keep that up as the rest of my party is meeting up with this person.
Okay.
And as Amsen is starting to entertain the crowd, since I think this is the first half-orc woman that I've specifically met since we left Embershore, I'm just kind of going to look her over a little bit as subtly as I can. First try and, guess her age. And then if she seems at all familiar.
Guessing her age, she's probably early 20s.
Okay, then never mind.
Okay. You guys listen as Amsen kind of rouses up the crowd for a little bit. About half an hour goes by. You kind of drink some drinks, settle in. The crowd kind of gets used to your presence and stops staring so hard. And after that half hour passes by, a individual walks in. He's wearing not robes, but simple, darker clothes, linens. He walks with a staff he uses as a walking staff. And upon his head, he has the black rune, as you notice his familiar face. The gentleman kind of looks around and begins to walk over to you. As he approaches, you get a better look at him. He's bearded. He has dark eyes, and his hair and beard is thick and wide, squared off at the bottom, and it was once maybe dark brown. It's now speckling with graying. He looks like he's in maybe his early 50s, maybe a little older. Well, I presume it is you I'm to meet with. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Good. Follow me. And he leads kind of beside the bar. There's a cloth that kind of leads into what looks like a kitchen, and then there's a staircase that goes into a cellar. He leads you down, kind of waving by the bartenders and the proprietor as you go down into a cellar. It's about the size of the whole tavern, but less broken up by walls. There's a few columns supporting the ceiling above as he brings you down. Well, first things first. And he pulls out a tome and begins to read through a ritual, kind of walking here and there, various corners of the room, using his staff. You see there's a crystal at the top, a black quartz-like crystal that kind of is slowly rotating, floating just about an inch above the staff. He performs some sort of ritual, and it takes him about 10 minutes, and he's just silently not looking at you, just staring. And Meli, you get a look. It looks like whatever he's casting is like 3 or 4 pages worth of notes in order to cast this. Eventually he finishes it.
I was going to ask if I could try and figure out what kind of spell he's casting.
You can make an Arcana check. And I'll say anyone that has Arcana can go ahead and roll this since he's doing this for 10 minutes.
15.
15, that's like an 18 from Meli. So Ellory, it looks like he's creating a perimeter with runes that briefly flash as he uses his staff to create them before they fade from view. He's creating a perimeter probably protective or abjurative in nature. You're not sure exactly of the specifics of what it's actually doing. It seems protective. Meli, you look at it and you recognize some of the effects. You notice you remembered some before he passed. Philosopher Mobius was casting similar spells in enchanting areas of Norbel Tower to have these sort of protective effects that would prevent people from using divination magic to view upon it and to sort of keep an area protected from spying. For the 10 minutes pass, and he finishes and kind of closes his tome, tucking it into a satchel he keeps. Well, I told you I had a few questions for me. My time is limited. He pulls out from his sack looks like a timer. 5 minutes. And he kind of places it on a nearby crate.
When did people start going missing? Is there a date?
There's not an exact date. I was told maybe a month or 2 ago. It started escalating. Before then, we're not sure if there's any connection. People randomly go missing. Not sure.
What do you know about the Shadowfell?
It is the fallen world. It is the first world, the old world, destroyed and left as the gods abandoned it, as their children rebelled against them.
If it was to be restored, what would happen to our world? Could they exist simultaneously?
There's no restoring the world. It's fallen. It's lost the shadow of this one.
Something's trying to bring the light back to it.
The light there is no sun there. As the gods left, the sun was taken with it, as there is no moon as well.
When we went, there was a crack in the sky that glowed.
The scar. That is where the gods abandoned the world. That is where they left from. There is no light there, not like there is here.
So our world would have to be destroyed for it to be brought back into the light?
You're asking theoretical questions that hardly have theoretical answers. The possibility of it being restored would require the gods to re-enter the world, either abandoning this one or some of them staying. You're dealing with deities. This isn't something mortals, especially understudied ones, would be able to comprehend.
I've been studying religion my entire life. Try me.
Perhaps you would know more than I.
So now you're wasting our time.
If there are no further questions, I will take my leave. He begins to reach for the timer.
Is there a pattern of the people that were going missing? Like, anything that links them?
We looked for one. We thought they were, well, at first they were the easy picking, so to speak. Peasants, out of sync, lower class individuals. We didn't notice at first because they were all unimportant. As it escalated, others were taking, we're not sure. There doesn't seem to be a fair pattern. They all seem to be adults, though some younger than others. They were all taken at night, as far as we understand. There are no constant links in organizations, no constant links in places of work, no constant links in where they go, what taverns they visit, what shops they keep. We believe, if there is a pattern, if this is one entity, if you believe this will is behind this, they seem to be opportunists, striking at someone who's drunkenly walking down an alleyway.
Do you know anything about Eliza Underwater?
I've never heard the name.
Well, she was the one who was apparently taking people on behalf of this will.
Can I make an insight check on him? He says he doesn't know the name.
Sure.
Oh, that was good. That is a 22.
He seems to have a very bored sort of facial expression this entire time. He has very thick, black or dark brown eyebrows, and one of them twitches slightly when you say that. If she's the one that's taken, we can look into this Eliza and try to find out more about her. Do you, for instance, know her whereabouts, where she might be found?
She's dead.
Problem solved, it seems.
Undead.
Problem worsened.
She attacked us last night as a spectre of some kind. She took a skull that spoke to Meli. I point to Meli. And
what
told her how to open the portal.
And did you? He kind of takes a step towards Meli. Did you open this portal?
No.
What did it tell you?
It was trying to convince me to. It told me how to open it. It told me its name was Ilthero. He said he used to be like me, and there's power beyond my grasp, and something about restoring the light, and I have to get an ounce of shadow salt. I don't know. And then he insulted my intelligence, and I put him in a bag.
Oh, he's speaking the truth on some of those matters. He was like you. In fact, I hold his former position those several centuries after. I shall look in the records and see where his body was entombed or burned and try to track that. Thank you for your information, number one.
I heard that there may be a dedication to one of the former court arcanists. Would that be him that they're following?
There's been rumors, yes, that some believe that all magic should be studied, that there should not be rules on what you can and cannot study. However, after the coup that Ilthero attempted on the royal family some centuries ago with an undead army, the king issued a edict outlawing all necromancy of the undead nature. Some still rebel against that edict. This was centuries ago.
A law I can get behind.
Yes, truly needed.
So do you need anything from us, or any information of what we've seen?
I've had some information passed to me from, the council. Seems you were interviewed before. I believe I can get most of my information here, though I don't believe they mentioned a spectre.
What just happened last night? She took the skull. I don't know if she can use it in her current state.
I can try to track her down, though it is hard to divine into someone I am not familiar with. You didn't happen to catch some of her hair or blood?
I pull out the tongue ring. She had this in her tongue.
Disgusting.
Isn't it?
I can use this.
Can I pry the diamond out, though? And keep the metal part that was actually in her mouth?
Sure.
Great.
I shall take this and attempt to scry upon the creature and see what I can learn of her. He looks to the timer that's now run out. It seems our time has come to an end. If I shall need you further, we shall reach out to you. He starts to say something, and then closes his mouth. And he takes what's left of the tongue ring, puts it in a pocket somewhere, and leaves.
One more thing. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I believe the hounds have Eliza's body, or they should, except for her head, which is still in the catacombs.
No, I thought Ezekiel told them where he spit it out.
Well, that's true, so they might have gone after it.
I shall look into these remains. It will help greatly in my divination. Thank you for your assistance. Good evening.
Just want to insight check him one more time. I'm just nervous.
What are you looking for?
Is he... I don't know, his eyebrow twitched. Does he actually intend to just divine, or does he intend to use her physical presence to, like a tag lock, like a hair or something to like...
You can't read his mind, but he...
No, but I just want to see
he acted weird when you said Eliza, and then just going off that same roll from earlier, he doesn't seem to have made any changes in his personality or how he speaks. The only thing that was different was that one eyebrow twitch, you said, Eliza. After he looks over his shoulder answering that last question, he walks up the stairs.
I think he knew her. He twitched and he said her name.
Lovely. Hey, Meli. No offense, but I kind of hate the city.
I really hate the city.
Like, I know you grew up here and all, but...
I mean, I spent half my life here, but I also spent half my life in Undershore, so I'm not, like, super offended if you hate it here.
At least something good came out of the city. I give her kind of a sideways hug.
Oh, I'll hug you back.
I'm going to mention to Bál just kind of in giant, are you satisfied with how that went?
I don't know. I don't know if it brings us closer to stopping it, but I mean, it's better than before. At least we know a little more.
I think at this point it's in their hands, though. They've got people looking into it. Not well, clearly, but maybe we've helped. Maybe we've made them see how dire it is.
Bál kind of nods and says, maybe Amsen was right. We can't save everybody.
You can only redeem those that want to be redeemed. You can only save those who want to be saved.
I don't believe that.
What do you believe?
Everyone can be redeemed.
I agree.
I don't think they always need to want it. Sometimes I suppose they can't.
What do you do with someone who doesn't want to be redeemed?
You send them back and hope the next version of them will.
Fair enough. And then in comment, let's go get a drink.
Okay. So as you guys go back up to get a drink, marinate on what you discovered about potentially leaving the city tomorrow and what lies ahead, that's where we'll close off for this week, and we'll pick up next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. For notifications when an episode goes live, you can find us on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. Download the app and subscribe or favorite us there. If you'd like to contact us, you can tweet us at back2_the_story. If you can't fit it into 280 characters, you can email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. And if you'd like further information about the campaign, the player characters, NPCs, or behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, follow us on either Twitter or on our Tumblr website. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.